right, let's blast off. Okay. Poll watch as election draws near. Hogwatch, pro-Trump edition. Twitch bans Arab content creators over Sabra hummus being ass. Sabra hummus joke after ADL pressure. Deserved though? Yeah, dude, totally. Yeah. No, definitely. Like, I'm going to keep it at $1.50. I've been banned before for this, so I understand why Frogan would be banned for this specifically. In terms of like the veterans conversation that she had, that was actually like going kind of viral. Like, if it was that would have made a little bit more sense ultimately, even though I know her point is clear, right? Her point is that, you know, if you're fucking going out there and like slaughtering motherfuckers, like slaughtering Arab people, like, yeah, and you don't feel conflicted about that even a little bit, like, fuck you, versus, you know, versus like, if you do feel conflicted about that, then yeah, I'm with you all the way, right? And that's like a pretty normal take that a lot of people have, I think, or a lot of people who are anti-imperialists have this take. Wishing harm on people seems unhinged though. So that's the point I was going to make, right? Overall, with that sentiment, I can see exactly how that was, you know, exactly why that looks horrible overall. And that's like veterans are a protected group. So like that in and of itself, I've caught a ban for, okay? I've literally been banned for that. My America Deserve 9/11 take was packaged with some stuff that I may or may not have said about a veteran who's a politician. His name is Dan Crenshaw. So like that kind of makes sense. But I think like they got so much pressure from like ADL and a bunch of other like annoying fucking groups being like, I can't believe it, you guys are being anti-Semitic, when the clearly they're not. You know, that's fucking ridiculous. So yeah, they had to respond somehow. Poll watch election draws near. Hogwatch Pro Trump edition. Twitch bans Arab content creators over Sabra hummus joke after ADL pressure, and more. And more. Get in now. Majority report. Thank you for the raid. Hope you had a good stream. Uncle Sam, love you. Hope you're having a good one. Hassan, the 9/11 situation was 2 weeks. They got a month, which is nuts. Yeah, because once again, I know I'm going to talk about that in a second. What do you mean? Clearly they're not. I'm sorry. I'm not going to fucking sit here and listen to the most cynical framing on this issue. It is ridiculous. Okay. It is ridiculous. I'm saying that like the PTSD comment is a more worthwhile and more valid thing to ban someone over than stale ass bait being like, I feel like it was anti-Semitic because on your tier list you said someone loves Sabra hummus. It's like fucking saying, doing a tier list on who is like valid in the black community, and in the bottom putting fucking raisins. You know what I mean? Like a person putting raisins in their potato salad. Like that's literally the exact same thing. Okay, it's fucking ridiculous. So people fucking complaining about it are being completely ridiculous. Anyway, yeah, who's invited to the cookout playlist? Who's invited to the cookout tier list? Like, or like who's more Hispanic coded? And then like in the bottom says like loves Taco Bell, which by the way, for the record, is not even a good fucking comparison, because Taco Bell can be good. It can hit if you're drunk as fuck. You know what I mean? When you're drunk as a motherfucker, it can kind of bang. Sabra has never hit. You know, there's never been a moment where I'm like, damn, I really want some fucking Sabra hummus right now. All right. Poll watches election draws near. Hogwatch Pro Trump edition. Yada yada yada. All this shit. I raise you Jack in the Box tacos. I don't like Jack in the Box at all. I've never liked Jack in the Box. I don't like Jack in the Box. I don't know what the fuck's up with that. It's just the one thing that I've never actually been on board with. Sabra is the reason a lot of people don't like hummus, because they all tried it and it tastes like sand. Yeah, it tastes real bad. Hassan, have you started Roy's looking big? Thank you, brother. Hey, hold on. This is the new merch. Got to do it for the day. Hold on. There you go. No, I'm not doing steroids. This has been a journey that you have probably closely and meticulously been able to track over the course of the past couple of years. I've finally gotten to a point where I'm very comfortable with my body, comfortable enough to be shirtless all the goddamn time. Not comfortable enough to do a hot tub show with Austin, but like comfortable enough to at least take photos without my shirt. Anyway, what is this? Quen talks about Hassan.
Oh no, me too. Yesterday.
Anything for y'all.
I feel like one of those like really masculine men on the internet. Like they like nothing peel open a watermelon. They're like
Me when I'm Hassan. Hassan is literally maybe the sexiest man I've ever seen in real life. No flirt, just pure fact.
yeah. I've never seen him in real life, but Jake told me that he's gorgeous.
He looks like a god.
I believe
He literally
it.
looks like a god that like.
Aw, Jake. That's my dude. That's my guy. Yo, he's got me. He's gassing me up. He's like, yeah, Jake said he was gorgeous. That's fire. Okay. Listen, a little bit of fucking self-glaze is necessary, everybody. Come on. I need a little bit of that. I need a little bit of this in my life, dude. Okay? My life is fucking shit right now. All right? She means with a beard. It's all good. It's all good. Listen, this shit grows back. It's already growing back. Look.
Purse to be in the century.
I don't think Hassan knows who I am, but
Hassan knows who you are. Hassan knows who we all are.
I know who she is.
Hassan knows everything
Hassan knows everything in the world.
in the world. That
Sugar.
wasn't a dog noise.
That was sugar.
No, it wasn't. That wasn't a dog's noise. That was a soul trapped in a dog's body. Who are you?
Sugar is sugar. Okay, so wait, I'm gonna take my rings off. I just recently bought myself a Cartier ring. I've never bought myself something so expensive.
You deserve glaze, but I'd rather see glaze on your opinions than your physics. No offense. Oh, dude, it's all good. It's all good. This is so fucked up of you. Yeah, I know. How much did you pay for that AI edit? Let's look at the comments. Hassan can sidestep from politics to modeling so quickly, but my Jake, love that people that getting to know about Hassan help. Now Hassan knows everything. Yeah, I think it's all right. Like people will always and forever. Sean the Black. Google define Sabra. Yeah, I know, dog. I've learned about it since this saga of loves Sabra. Since this saga, I found out that it means like a person born in Israel. I didn't even fucking know that. And I like to think that I'm at least like relatively knowledgeable about this stuff. And also, it grammatically doesn't make sense. Why are we having this conversation again? It's so stupid. Yeah, dude. Okay, if you think it's anti-Semitic, then that's fine. All right, you think it's anti-Semitic. You're never gonna convince me you're never gonna convince me on this issue. Okay, because I was talking to Noah. I grew up in every level of Jewish society in the USA. I'd never heard of that in my life. No, Noah also like picked up on it because I was talking to Noah about it. Noah Colwyn. I was like, this thing happened like with Love Sabra as a tier list, and he was like, oh, did they claim it was person born in Israel? And I was like, damn, that's crazy. Chat's fucked up. Chat's gonna be fucked up today. I googled it and I shit you not, a picture of a cactus shows up first. The context doesn't make any sense if it was a dog whistle. Yeah, I know. No, I was talking to Noah Colwyn, not Samson. Why would I talk to Noah Samson about like anti-Semitism related issues? Anyway, Edwards rematches against Gabe Vincent tonight. Ball highlights for the return of the NBA. Yeah, bro, I'm gonna be real. There are some Jew-specific things you've been ignorant of in the past, but real talk, no one in the world knew the Sabra thing except for Noah, Jewish Currents, Colwyn, I guess. Yeah, I didn't know about it either. Yeah, there's definitely some shit that I don't know about, like Jewish culture, Jewish practice, stuff like that. Like I learned about the lemon thing recently with Sukkot. I learned that alongside Felix. What is it called? The Argot or whatever. But then I also know some crazy shit too. I know about the string. I know about the fucking kosherizing a kitchen with the rabbi with a flamethrower. Etrog. Yeah, the lemon thing, etrog. And then there's also apparently like a bunch of leaves that you do this with as well. You go, I don't fucking know. It is what it is, but chat pulling you down the sewer drain like the fucking it clown. So anyway, is it anti-Semitic to name it that and then make such shit hummus? I think like the advantage with Sabra is that they kind of captured the market early on. So like Americans don't know any better. You know what I'm saying? I don't know why it just tastes so bad though. I guess like when you process it and when you make it like to that level, like when you have to make so much of it, like a lot gets lost in the process maybe. Cause like that makes no dang sense to me. Like it just doesn't make sense that it's so fucking bad. I don't understand it. It's like prepackaged guac. Yeah. But hummus is hummus. Like it's not that fucking hard to like I have prepackaged hummus sometimes, you know what I mean? I don't know what it is. I genuinely don't know what the fuck is the reason. It's got to be like the seasoning that they use. I think I heard Denim say they don't take a shell, skin off the chickpea before crushing it up. Yeah, lack of seasoning. Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah. In any case, who gives a fuck? That's neither here nor there. It's completely and utterly irrelevant to the point of contention or the conversation today. Ever had Kawa hummus? Yeah, I think Kawa is like Kawa's hummus is not that good either. Kawa is also Israeli, if I'm not mistaken, right? Aren't they Israeli? But their harissa is literally the best in the game, like straight up. Like I'm not even remotely embarrassed to admit that. I don't know if Kawa is Israeli or not, but like their harissa is literally top tier. And it's like kind of sad to admit because I don't know if it's like I don't know if it's like Israeli. I don't know if it like I don't know who the owner like what the owner's opinions are about Israel if it is. I don't fucking know any of that shit. I thought it was like maybe Greek, but the harissa sauce that they got slaps so fucking good. It is so goddamn good. Harissa is Tunisian, bro. Yeah, no, I mean are you saying Kawa is Israeli? I don't know. I don't know who founded it. I've never searched it. Like I've never Googled it. I don't give a fuck. It tastes delicious. And as long as it's not on a fucking BDS list, I'm not going to have issues with it anyway. I'm a normal person. Is Greek even worse? No, I have Greek food all the fucking time too. I don't give a shit. Kawa is Cava. But here's the thing. Did he mean it? 3 million likes? What is this? Oh, this was funny as fuck. Yeah, I saw this. Kamala, happy birthday, Kamala. It's her birthday today. Pretty sure Kava is Greek. I don't fucking know. Anyway, let's continue.
She's 60 years old. Do you want to say it? Yes, I would say happy birthday.
Why are the reporters that Donald Trump is encountering also like baby brained? Like, why are they like even the reporter that he's talking to is like, it's Kamala's birthday today, Mr. President. How do you feel about that? It's like, what is happening? You're not talking to a child. You're talking to the motherfucking former president who's currently running for president.
60 years old? Yes, I would say happy birthday, Kamala. She's turning 60.
Did you get her some fries?
I think I'll get her some flowers. I think I'll get her some fries. You're right.
I think I'll get her some flowers.
That might be. I'll give her some McDonald's. I'll get her a McDonald's hamburger.
Thank you.
No, it is her birthday. It is true, right? Happy birthday, Kamala. Happy birthday. See you later. Bye.
Wait, what is this? Tucker, Tim Waltz is obviously gay. I look at him and I'm like, well, you're gay. Maybe he's not gay, but he certainly seems gay. Tim Waltz? Tim Waltz is a flaming homosexual? Dog, what the fuck are you guys saying? That's crazy. First of all, number one, I can't believe I'm going to say this because we do a lot of ironic homophobia in this community that is mostly a homosexual community. Okay? But like, Donald Trump is gay as fuck. Like, actually. Don't make me tap the sign, okay? He's Mr. Zest. Fuck you mean Tim Walz is gay? He's like a fucking football coach and shit. What are you talking about? Fuck? What are you saying? Oh my God. Oh, stop it. I can't take any of this shit seriously, bro. Yeah, he's like, Trump will just go around being like, Arnold Palmer had a horse cock. Such a big one. It hangs. It's got its own gravitational pull. Believe me, folks. Ladies know what I'm talking about. And then it'll be like Phantom of the Opera was so good. Andrew Lloyd Webber has been robbed. Aiden Carter's Vanity Fair parties are terrible. That sissy, he's not doing a good job. Not the Pavarotti version of Ave Maria played at my rallies. Play the Pavarotti version. And then they're like, yeah, you know who's gay actually? The guy who's kind of nice. the guy, he must be gay. Why? Because he's a nice guy. Like, he's not like weirdly putting on an air of toxicity around his masculinity. Yeah, that's it. Is Tim Pool actually ending his podcast? Wait, I don't think this is real. There's no way. When I see something that's too good to be true, I don't immediately believe it. You guys know this. This is my policy, okay? This is one of those things that seems too good to be fucking true, okay? Ending like Alex Jones threatened to multiple times. No, I know this isn't real Tim Pool. This is a obvious like Tim Pool tracker account, chat. But this is a compilation of shit that he's saying from Extreme. And I also have seen I also have seen like him talk about how this might be my last show if you even cared. Like that is definitely a thing. The numbers fall off that hard, or is it just because he's not getting the Russia money? I think Tim Pool's numbers have been fine. There has been something that I have noticed, however. I think TikTok has basically gutted like political commentary on YouTube and everywhere else. Like I'm one of the only places, like this stream, this broadcast, one of the very few places that has like remained consistently had like consistently high numbers. But even in an election cycle, this should be probably even higher. But because like TikTok has like diversified the style of commentary and packaged it in like a super fucking super fast paced format, like I never hear about Ben Shapiro any longer. Do you guys ever hear about Ben Shapiro? That's Tim Koss, not Tim Cass. I know, chat. I know. Why are you guys fucking doing this? I don't ever hear about Benny Boy at all. Like last night was the first time I saw Benny Boy because he went to UCLA and he was like, I love the IDF. I like everything that they do. And it's like there has been a genuine fall off with Steven Crowder, which we know he had a big fall off. He fucked his entire life up. He just said no to like $50 million from Daily Wire and was like, that's slave wages. And then it came out that he was a ginormous piece of shit. Well, I guess everybody already knew he was a ginormous piece of shit, but it like further came out that he was a ginormous piece of shit. I don't fucking know how else to explain it. But I don't know. It's just like I rarely ever hear about these guys any longer. And I feel like they used to be so dominant. And I will say that like on my end, I mean, the activity is also bad too. Like it's not like my shit pops off either. Like my shit has definitely gotten stale as well. Like at this stage, I think we would probably have like 300K every single video on a day-to-day basis. But like there's videos that get 138K. And it's mostly just like drama related stuff that people pay attention to. I think that maybe people just don't give a shit. Like, look at this. Look at the stuff that hits. Trump dances on stage for 39 minutes. Like, that's an utterly irrelevant part. Is Kamala Harris' strategy all wrong? Fucking 116K views. It's mostly like people in my audience, in general, I think don't want to hear me fucking criticize Democrats at all. They just like are bored about it. They just want to hear drama, and that's it. If you are curious, parents around here used to complain about stuff their kids saw that was hardcore conservative. This year, nope. Just TikTok and super conservosphere does not have a hold here. Their kids see more pro-left stuff than ever before, and they see politics. Yeah, I think, like I said, I think TikTok is definitely slowly but surely taking over that space. And I think that there's like a lot more content creators out there that are like young, that are facing a younger audience. And that's pretty much it. And I think like that's probably happening for the right wing as well, because I think it's probably happening for liberals for sure. I think they just want you to become a celebrity law. Who? Could it also be that the audience outside of the U.S. is tired of election news? No, I don't know. Maybe. But yeah, I think that overall, like with the exception of like peak moments where a lot of people tune in, the media cycle is so much faster now. Like people just fucking cycle in and out. It just fucking cycles in and out quickly. Like people are like, oh, Trump got shot. Boom. Everyone pays attention. A day later, everyone's like, did Trump even get shot? He might as well not have been shot at all. You know what I mean? Like they forget about it. So it is what it is. That probably plays a role in it. But time to change things up. No, I mean, I think I do a decent job. Scroll down to the graphs. I think I do a decent job of like keeping things, keeping my shit as entertaining as possible. I don't fucking know. I just, what is this? Oh, these are my graphs. Total subscribers monthly. Yeah, I mean, it's going up, but like, I think it would probably be going up faster in an election cycle. You know, it's only at 1.4 million subs. Like, I haven't really done a lot of like pushes on my YouTube, but I'm talking about it from my own perspective. I'm talking about it from my own like YouTube stuff. But the reality is like, I think that on YouTube, like Ben Shapiro is not looking great either. Like, I think he is probably taking a larger hit than me even, you know? I think you should start looking at YouTube after your contract is up yeah, I mean, it's pretty much over. Like, there's no more Twitch contracts in general. I've thought about like potentially not running ads going forward and just only having subs now that there is no like contractual obligation, you know, because I feel like that is more that's better for chat, like as a viewership experience overall. And you know, we'll see what happens. Maybe dual streaming, we'll see. But of course, when you don't run ads and you don't have any contractual obligations to run ads, and you don't also have any sort of contractual minimum hours that you need to hit, and mine were pretty high. I mean, I was fucking way higher than the minimum hours anyway. Maybe I'll do less. Who knows? I haven't figured it out. When's the contract up, Unc? I think it's literally up right now. I'm not entirely sure. Like, I think it's either ending soon or most likely ended already. But I don't know. I haven't also looked into it because, once again, I'm fucking horrible at paying attention to this sort of stuff. It's my least favorite part of my job. But we'll figure it out. We'll make a new we'll make a new bait meta for something different. You know what I mean? The 13 Keys guy got really mad at this Telegraph interview. Yeah, I did see that. If you don't run ads, don't they just run pre-rolls? Yeah, I think so. Why aren't you involved in the Bernie stream? Dog, I don't know if you know this, but I'm incredibly critical of the administration currently. Like, I don't like, it's a get out to vote initiative. It would be weird for me to, I think I'd be a weird fit to go on a like campaign ad for, I still love Bernie. I love Bernard. I love him. I will always love him. But I don't think that it would be appropriate for me to go on there and be like, you know, let's go out and vote for Kamala Harris. Like I don't want Trump to win either, but I don't think it's appropriate for me to do that. Does it upset you at all? What the fuck? What would upset me? About what? I can have Bernie on the stream whenever I want. I love Bernie. I have a bunch of I have like most of his fucking comms people are fans of mine. Not being on the stream? No. Trump has defiled our boys. We bring the boom! Oh no, he didn't do that. No, boom. I think the typical conservative content and manosphere shit fell off, but the centrist drama slop farming channels are up high, doing essentially 2016 Leafy style commentary with centrists that lean right. Yeah, probably. That makes sense. I'm glad that like the crazy fucking manosphere shit doesn't bang as hard anymore because people got kind of bored of it and that fizzled out, like, because that was a big wave. But overall, it's still fucking annoying. Like the centrist, right-wing adjacent, far-right aligned content creators that are just like, I'm looking at this drama with an impartial eye, even though I also will reveal that I have some really serious fucking ideological problems with the person that I'm offering biased commentary over. Like, it's not, you know, we know, dog. The new thing is 4chan racism repackaged in Mr. Beast aesthetics like Tyler Oliveira. Yeah. Where was I? What was I talking about? All right. Well, we got a lot to cover. Did the Macy's send a fucking fat pill? I can't even talk. Oh, he did. Here it is. And Harris is doing a blue wall blitz with conservative voters. Thank you to Macy's for the playlist. We already blasted off a long ass time ago at this point. I also wanted to show you guys, but a lot of people online might cause you to hyper focus on certain aspects in their own like immediate bubbles or whatever, right? But make no mistake, okay? I think most people understand that this is what a real terrorism defender sounds like. And by this, I mean Ben Shapiro. So Ben Shapiro went to UCLA last night. Old school Ben Shapiro content. It's been a while since I've talked about Benny Boy. Kind of miss him a little bit, you know? Never thought I would say it. Never thought I would see the day where I'd be like, where the fuck? What's up? Like, where you been? But, you know, turns out he's at UCLA. Young Americans for Freedom, YAF, the Virgin Coalition at UCLA campus and at every campus, really, invited him over to be fucking annoying at campus. Okay? One of the students that wanted to ask him a question came up to the podium and asked him a brave question. Let's hear what he had to say.
As an American Jew, how can you continue to condone the actions of the Israeli government, condoned by the U.S. government, in the Gaza Strip, where over 40,000 people have died, including Palestinians and Israelis, and large numbers of children and civilians? How can you continue to condone those actions?
Okay, hold on. I want to correct you. I don't just condone the actions of the Israeli Defense Forces and the Israeli government. I celebrate and laud them.
Yeah, 40,000 babies. We want more baby murder. We want more baby murder. Let's go. Woo. It's like, bro, how pathetic is your life? How fucking sad is your life that you live in the goddamn lap of luxury at UCLA campus listening to fucking Benny Hanna himself, okay? Benny Boy himself, and you're just like, yeah, kill more children, please. It's like, dude, you have to be such a ginormous fucking loser to celebrate that. Like, have some decency, dog. Have a sense of shame. Where is your soul, your heart? Like, what a monstrous fucking position to arrive at, dude. Like, I'm not even talking about Ben, because like Ben obviously is paid to be a fucking amoral ghoul, right? Like, that's his job. His job is to just be like, racism doesn't exist. And more, please. If it does exist, then I like it. You know, that's like his job, right? But like, if you're in the fucking audience, you're like, yeah. Like, what are you doing? What do you want? What do you fucking want? What do you want? What do you want out of life? This can't be good for you, okay? This cannot be healthy for your mental state. Like, how the fuck did you get to this point? At least a lot of people, in my opinion, have like a sense of shame around this issue. So they just like kind of recognize the biases. They kind of recognize the cognitive dissonance they have in their fucking minds. So they either shut the fuck up and stay quiet if they are even pro-Israel at all, or they try to fucking lash out at like the other side, right? They lash out at like the people who are anti-Israel to be like, you are wrong for having an anti-Israel position. And I will not examine my own personal opinions on the matter, right? But like, this is just directly being like, I fucking love what Israel's doing. Let's go. More genocide, please. Like, that's crazy. That's crazy. And I have talked about this quite a bit, right? I've talked about this quite a bit. I think it stems from just like feeling a sense of insecurity in your life where you just kind of recognize that even though you're going to fucking UCLA and shit, like, even though you're going to UCLA, you're like, things are not getting better. You know what I mean? Like, things are not fucking getting better overall. So we might as well just like be excited at the things that people are doing, you know? Anyway, they desperately want someone to tell them that the country they love is right. Anyway,
I'm not morally apathetic about what's happening.
As an American Jew,
like, it's crazy. I would say the timing of saying this is ironic, given the footage that came out today of an 11-year-old boy who threw a stone at an armored vehicle in Nablus and was immediately executed. But frankly, we get a new video every day, so it's nothing special. Yeah, nothing. Like, I mean, it's just, there is no bottom to this well. Okay, there is no bottom to this well. No amount of violence is going to cause a lot of these people that are fucking cackling and cheering in that room to turn around and be like, maybe this is kind of fucked up. Maybe, I don't know, maybe we should like reconsider. I think people at this point have, I guess, like, there is more honesty in this position than anything else. When you think about it, this is more honest of a position to openly advocate for than like a lot of people that keep quiet, or even, dare I say, claim that they don't like what Israel is doing, but then hyper focus on other shit instead of being like, hey, can we have a moment for the fucking victims here? You know, millions of people displaced at this point, hospitals getting blown up in virtually every country that is around Israel. What the fuck, you know? So I think that this right here is like a more honest version of that, you know? But yeah, I do not personally think that there is any kind of punishment for this kind of rhetoric anyway, for the record. There's just none. Just like there's no punishment for bigotry in general in the other direction, especially if it's like done at the behest of either pro-Israeli sentiment or specifically just being like Islamophobic. Like when I say anti-Semitism and Islamophobia are unacceptable forms of bigotry, and yet one is considered more permissible than the other in American society, this is what I mean. Like, look at this fucking shit, dude. Like, that's crazy. Like, this is just straight up, like, they're doing, like, a kill list. Like, yeah, okay, dude. Like, have fun. Like, that's insane. And, like, that kind of stuff is just completely unchecked at this point. And I think, like, left unchecked, it just gets more and more. It goes, like, larger and larger every day, you know? Sam Cedar about the drama today at the 128 mark. Kaya, no growling. What drama?
I'm not the biggest Pete Buttigieg fan, but he was the mayor of South Bend, Indiana. Book. Yeah, exactly. Call him.
So I've sorry, I'm like really nervous. I'm calling because I've seen like a lot of really crazy mudslinging towards one of my favorite content creators, whom I know you have a good relationship as well with, Hassan Piker. And I'm not sure.
He's going straight to Unk, dude. He's going straight to Unk. That's Unk. That's my uncle. Everybody calm down.
And keeping up with it because it's sort of like this intersectionality between like political commentators and like random crappy YouTube drama. But and I know that you also have a relationship or have been on the HD podcast. So anyway, just to give like the spiel really quickly, if you haven't heard of it, Ethan Klein sort of has had this like crazy campaign against Hassan lately, insinuating that his fan base is anti-Semitic and that he's allowing this sort of area of his community to exist, and just going above and beyond to make the most bad faith arguments in order to like perpetuate this narrative. And it's really like been personally upsetting to me specifically because here's this guy who, I'm sorry, I'm like really fucking
yeah, no, go
really
You're
nervous.
doing good.
Here's this guy who's like defended the Palestinian people for so long, way before like this year, like for years and years and years. I myself, I'm a Jewish person. I went on Birthright when I was 19, and I was radicalized by Birthright Unplugged. So I was able to see what was going on in the occupied West Bank at the time, and it was particularly upsetting to me. So, yeah, no, I guess the reason I'm calling is because I'm just curious if you are aware of what's going on. Because for me, it's just so personally upsetting to see this happen to someone that I feel like has been so staunchly in the right place with this issue, being brutally attacked by people whom I viewed as being like figureheads of like a progressive movement, people like Ethan Klein, other YouTubers as well.
Yeah, I mean, I have not followed this closely. I've seen like, you know, and I'm on Twitter less and less these days, but I've definitely seen touches of it on Twitter. And I don't know if it was like last week or when Hassan, you know, had texted me that he found this whole thing upsetting. And no, all I can tell you is right now, it seems like we have entered a stage where strong supporters of Israel, ones who I would say have been, you know, really intensely in denial as to what Israel is doing and what it's become. I'm put aside, you know, the question of like, for the moment, for the sake of this argument or this situation, the founding of Israel as being highly problematic. Just take this past year in isolation. If nothing, if there had been no history whatsoever, if this was completely outside of a context, there's just simply no way. And I think the context actually does not make it any more favorable for Israel. I think quite the opposite. But let's just assume for a moment that this only happened on October 7th. that Hamas came over, they broke through, they killed somewhere between 600 and 800 civilians, and then anywhere between 300 or 400 military personnel, which is the case. The idea that this is a proportionate response, the killing of, at a minimum, I mean, I don't think there's.
Hassan has become an L. The thing I don't understand about that kind of sentiment is that, like, if you consider me to be an L now, then I didn't become that. Like, I've always been this L, because the one thing is, it's me. I'm the one who called. Yes, I'm the chatter. Yeah. The thing is, like, I'm pretty consistent, especially on stuff like this, right? So I think that it's not necessarily that I have become an L. I think maybe your opinion changed on the matter, and that deserves some, I think, self-reflection. And I'm always going to be open-minded. I'm always going to be open-minded to people who change their minds. Maybe you changed your mind in the opposite direction, but I will still hold out hope that you will one day be charitable again to the things that I'm saying, But I haven't really changed my framework, my perception, my attitude on the way that Israel operates. The only thing that I've turned into an L on is the size of the t-shirts that I wear. I used to wear XXL, and now I wear larges. So I guess on that front, you are right.
There's any sort of reasonable individual that thinks it's less than 40,000 plus people, and that we know that almost 2/3 of this is women and children. We know that there have been thousands of kids underneath the age of like 2 who have been killed. I don't think there's anybody. Even without the context, this just looks like war crime after war crime.
May I ask a question, Sam?
Yeah.
So getting to that point, like, I think what's particularly upsetting about this, like, obviously the entire situation.
I am her Bullprog called in and talk about their criticisms of you. Okay.
Is incredibly upsetting, and it's one of the most horrendous things that I hope I'll ever have to witness in my life. But I think what's particularly upsetting, like I mentioned before, is seeing people whom I previously thought were fairly progressive become like radicalized against this issue, and
listen,
up people that are so much worse with their bad faith arguments. And I wonder if you think it's more about that, just like this hits home for them in a weird way, where they're able to suspend their disbelief.
That was the point that I was trying to make. It's like, I feel like we have hit a stage of this now where it is so horrific, it is so obvious that even without
you can't even acknowledge it.
Even without context, that to remain in denial, you need to go further, right? Like, you can't hunker down. You need to go on the offense. I will tell you this. I had a guy, family friend of my father's age, who called him this week and asked if I was an anti-Semite.
Yeah. So this is ironically enough, the reason why I wanted Sam to talk to Ethan as well, because this is like getting too into, in a very public fashion, but getting too into like inter-community conversations. Okay. Like, you know how sometimes we open the door? You know how sometimes we open a door and peek into black people's business? This is Jewish people's business to a certain degree. Like, the way that American Jews analyze Israel and the opinions that they have, like, this is a inside baseball conversation almost. Like, I understand why that chatter is frustrated, because he's like recognizing the cognitive dissonance demonstrated by people who he recognizes were progressive, who have gone through a genuine attitude change, right? And yet that attitude change has like limits in terms of the analysis. I think that it's just slightly parasocial. I don't think so, because like I have 2 different camps here, right? I have like hardline anti-Zionist Jewish friends who are very close friends of mine, as you guys know, who I love and have so much respect for, who who have already had these opinions very publicly for a very long time. And then there are a lot of young Jewish Hasanabi heads that I talk to who have basically gone through this journey into anti-Zionism, and that and the communal attitudes that are reflected back at them, like the push and pull basically of your own personal convictions on this matter versus the way that your immediate family members treat you, and your sense of community basically being robbed from you because of your difference in opinion on this matter, because of how many of these communities are built around the concept of like defending Israel. I think that's a real issue. Sense of community, Lamau? No, I mean, it's true. What do you mean? You can't say that, like, sense of community, Lamau. There are plenty of anti-Zionist Jews who literally are just like, dude, I don't know what the fuck to do. Like, you know, you have Hillel on campus, you have all these like Jewish groups on campus, and they straight up are like, oh, are you fucking anti-Israel? Fuck you. You're a token. Get out of here. Like, you get excommunicated like a fucking Mormon. To be clear, I've been pro-Palestinian since I did Birthright Unplugged at 19. I'm 33 now, but it's upsetting because I saw firsthand the propaganda. Yeah. No, I'm talking specifically about like when I go to the encampments and stuff and I talk to the students there. One of the most common things I heard from Jewish students at the encampment was like, you know, you have no, like, you basically don't have the same like community resources all of a sudden, because like it's just, they take that shit away from you. You're like not a part of it. You know, you have to be pro-Israel. And I feel like that's a frustrating situation, and I haven't been able to find it like a good solution to that at all when people ask me that question. You know, like, I do understand how that would be. I can understand how that would feel. That sense of isolation is going to be something that is damaging to your psyche for sure. Like, I get that. I don't know. This is 100% going to be clip chimped. Wait, what? Well, I didn't say anything. I did not say anything even remotely inappropriate here. I'm talking about my own personal experiences talking to anti-Zionist Jews that are Hasanabi heads at college encampments. Like, if they fucking, you know, if people clip this out of context to say that this is anti-Semitic, then so be it. Like, I've been getting called a fucking terrorist every goddamn day. I've been getting called an Islamist fundamentalist terrorist every fucking day. I think the best phrase to describe the thing that myself and a lot of other fellow Jewish Hasanabi heads is internalized shame. And it's something that I struggle with every day. I literally feel ostracized from my Jewish friends every day because of my beliefs. I think the best phrase to describe it is internalized shame. Like, I don't think you should feel shame. I think that is the social conditioning, right? I think that as a Jewish person, you should never feel shame about the actions of Israel. You should never, ever feel shame about the actions of Israel, because it has nothing to do with you. You know, it has nothing to do with you whatsoever. I understand where it comes from. I think it literally comes from like all of the social conditioning from, you know, early adolescent stages in your life, and how like that sense of community and almost like a higher national religious understanding in the form of like Zionist ideology has substituted maybe some of the practices that you could normally feel that you normally would feel is a part of your culture. But I don't feel shame. I just feel dismayed that people who raised me aren't living by their own teachings. Is very upsetting. Yeah, you should never ever in a million years feel shame. If you're an American Jew, you should never ever feel shame towards the actions of Israel. I will never allow it. Zionism is woven into Jewish communities from a very young age. It was taught to me at Hebrew school and amongst the word of the mouth. Yeah, exactly. But once again, this is why I always talk about this issue. Like, I don't think a lot of people understand. When I separate Zionism and Israel from Judaism across the board, I'm doing this because I see what the fuck is going on. Okay? I'm doing this one because it's the truth. Zionism is totally separate from Judaism. It does not matter if your local rabbi says that it isn't. Okay? It doesn't matter. You can voluntarily adopt this ideology because you think that this will, time will pass, and you can use this as as a deflection to be like, oh, well, every Jewish person is ideologically and religiously tied to Israel. It doesn't matter. This is what's taught in Hebrew school or whatever. But like, and it's a part of my Jewish identity. It still doesn't matter because you are not recognizing that you are teaching people something that is wrong. And not only is it wrong, but it's also causing people to associate Israel's actions with Judaism when it is so far removed from Judaism, almost antithetical to the values that at least I have learned about Judaism and Jewish culture and Jewish history. That may be a point of contention, though. Do you have the right to make that distinction as a non-Jewish person? Yeah, I understand that. I understand when people go, people try to do like, well, it's, you know, my own ideology, my own choice, that type of thing. It's not because of Israel. It's because I'm shamed by my community for not being pro-Israel. I know this is a long shot, but I would also be more than welcome to guest star one day to talk about my upbringing and the constant struggle of being someone who is Jewish and anti-Israel. I know you've talked about this a billion times, but I'd still be open sometime if you want. I'm pretty sure Megaphonics will also be more than glad to do so as well. Yeah. I hate how insane everyone has become, and it's impossible to talk to family I used to be friends with on holidays. I've seen too many dead babies. I literally burst out at any of my family when they bring up Israel. Like, I want my grandparents on Haifa dead. It's my fault for seeing Palestinians as humans. Yeah. But like, I'm like, Sam himself has is personally talking about his own experiences. Like, people think people in his own community, in his own immediate circle of friends, is like looking at him and assuming that he is like anti-Semitic for his opinion on Israel. And it's a very weird situation because, like, when people say white people are under attack in America or Christianity is under attack in America, we all understand that that's fucking bullshit, right? That is the oppressive group trying to do a reverse racism narrative. But with anti-Semitism, there is real anti-Semitism. There is actually a sense of marginalization that is valid. There is actually a genuine impact of anti-Semitism that is a canary for fascist ideology. So when that gets diluted with anti-Zionism in a very nefarious cycle that tries to associate all of the actions of Israel with Judaism, you are literally, without recognizing, telling people something that is objectively false, okay? Just like Saudi Arabia and its actions have nothing to do with Islam, okay? Or the rest of the Muslim world, Israel's actions have nothing to do with Judaism or, you know, how American Jews or Jews wherever they live in the world and their day-to-day experiences. It has nothing to do with that. It is a state, right? It is a state built around an ethno and religious supremacist ideology that is built on top of an area where there are millions of indigenous people and tens of millions that have been displaced already. Like, it has nothing. It has nothing to do with Judaism across the board, no matter how hard people have packaged it as such. And it always feels like I'm going crazy when people associate it when they are either Jewish themselves or pro-Jewish, right? It's like hearing straight up a Muslim guy in the Western world be like claiming that like ISIS is actually good for Islam and that ISIS actually is the true idea of Islam. It's like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, what are you saying? That's what it feels like. And I can't. You've made a turn, man. Not a good path. Once again, I have not. Especially on this issue, I have not. You either weren't paying attention in the past or your opinion most likely changed. Unless you can identify what the turn is, you know, unless you can identify in your mind what the turn is, we can't have this, we can't have like a normal conversation. It's just your vibes. In a Twitch chat, it's more nuanced than that. What? It just, you can give some talking points, I assume, I suspect, right? Here's another story from Nandre. A little anecdotal, though. When I lived in Israel, many of the younger Israelis despise Zionism because they live inside it and saw the garbage effects it has on life. It's why it's such a frustrating dialogue over there. The West is so far removed from it and pushes it so hard. Yeah, that definitely is the other aspect of it, too. I'm giving you the opportunity to speak up. So what Nandre said, it makes all the worse that Hebrew school teaches us about such a politically fraught and deep topic like Zionism at such a young age, and now tell us it's the Palestinians who indoctrinate their children who hate us. As though hating Palestinians isn't the obvious lesson of Zionist youth lessons. I cannot even reconcile that obvious cognitive dissonance with people who still believe that, even in old age. Yeah. It's just, you can point to videos that I have on this topic, ironically enough, with the same exact people that I'm still talking to on the same exact subject matter from like 8 years ago. You know what I mean? That's what's so funny about people being like, wow, you've changed. I have not. You either weren't paying attention to what I was saying for the past almost decade, or your perspective on the matter changed, and now you analyze what I'm saying with a very different lens. Again, it's more complex than can be said in a chat. You were literally asking me for talking points and I refuse. What? Okay, so what do you want? You just wanted to chirp? That's what it was? You just wanted the wine? Is that what it was? I would hope anyone would change in 10 years. I mean, if society is unchanging, on a lot of these issues, like, why would you expect me to change, my mindset to change? You know, that doesn't make any point. That doesn't make any sense. Yes, I've been consistently now for more than a decade and even beyond that, but very publicly, more than a decade, been pro immigration, right? Pro reform, rehabilitation over incarceration when it comes to the criminal justice system. I have, and none of those structural problems have gone away. I have been very critical of policing as an institution in this country. That has not changed, if not only gotten worse. So, like, and with respect to Israel, it's not like Israel 10 years ago was different. It was still an apartheid, and it still is. Like, my core values and the way that I understand the world have not shifted dramatically. For most people, not just you. These people just started paying attention, not you. Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
And it's like, wait a second. First off, I'm not saying anything now that I haven't been saying for a year. And I've been critical increasingly over the years, to be fair. But starting in 2004, when we did this show on AM Talk Radio, we had the Israeli embassy contact our show, after our first segment about Israel, which was in, I don't know, second month of doing the show, because they wanted to refute our points. I mean, we were critical of Israel. I think I
just denounced terrorists. I do. Your voice speaks loud. Do with that what you will. I denounce terrorists every day. I denounce the terror state of Israel every day. I denounce America's actions that are state-sponsored terror every day. Every day. Yeah, I do.
I've become more critical as I've learned more about,
people are still people, right? Like, they're still human beings. Whatever kind of fucking sticker you associate with them does not change that dynamic. People understandably have a desire to live free. Okay? That is a normal human desire to have. Okay? If you understand that the standard of violence is set by the larger, more powerful party, which in this case would be the settler colonial country with nuclear arms that are getting endless amounts of funds and weapons from the largest superpower on the planet historically, then you have to recognize that the overarching harm, the larger harm, is always still coming from Israel. Israel is setting the standard of violence. The Nat Turner rebellion, albeit incredibly violent, which included white people being slaughtered in their bedrooms, you know what I mean, did not change the morality of chattel slavery. It didn't. Just like the ANC's actions did not change the morality of the South African apartheid. When the dust settles, you will not look back at these situations, at these acts of violence, resisting against, no matter how abhorrent they may be. Okay? And October 7 had a tremendous amount of abhorrent acts of violence, okay? Specifically against civilians. When the dust is settled, if there is truly a progressive slant to history, you will look back at that as a dark moment in history, but ultimately the much larger harm will be accurately pointed to and the much larger issue will be in the hands, the larger responsibility will be in the hands of the settler colonial entity. Okay? The dust will never settle in this conflict. You're wrong. You're wrong on that too. No, the dust will settle on this for sure, because I don't believe that history magically has a slant towards progress, but I do look at history and recognize that the normal condition for humans is to collaborate with one another rather than being in a constant state of war, as evidenced by the European collaboration that we now take for granted, despite the fact that not that long ago, they were warring with one another, right? It's not optimism. I'm just simply looking at the way history has worked, okay? People who have killed one another for centuries now collaborate with one another, and it's not even a question. And we take that collaboration for granted. We assume that that is the normal condition. The other thing that I also know is that this level of violence is inherently unsustainable. Okay? This level of violence that Israel is dishing out to every single one of its neighbors and to territories that it currently illegally occupies is completely and utterly unsustainable. Okay? That's it. Fascism is inherently a suicidal ideology. It is constantly seeking out an outgroup at the behest of protecting an in-group. History is riddled with examples of ultranationalist ideologies self-destructing, including, but not limited to, Nazi Germany. Its rise and its fall, okay? Israel is now, due to these last 12 months of endless, unlimited genocide, a complete pariah state, not only by the third world, the global south, the developing nations, which always saw it as a colonial apparatus, but also now the first world, Western nations and their populations, especially younger populations in the West, recognize the reality. They can see right from wrong. This creates a shit ton of pressure. Israel cannot maintain itself as a Western adjacent nation, as a tourism destination, as a destination for academics to go and visit, as long as it keeps up this level of unlimited violence. There is a material harm, that a cost that Israel is incurring right now, okay? A debt to all the bloodshed, both on the social front, the social capital that it's expending, but also on the economic front. Think about your own personal attitude. Think about your own personal journey since October 7, 2023, and how much your opinion has shifted on this matter, okay? Maybe not every single person is going to be as clear-eyed on this issue and recognize, Israel as an apartheid state, but many people have the capacity to still see right from wrong. There's only so much Islamophobic sentiment that can justify the burned, charred bodies of children that you see on a daily fucking basis. Anyway, let's continue.
Over the years, more critical of just sort of like of Zionism per se. But the point is, I think we're at a point where it is so horrific that to maintain the denial, one needs to sort of like shift the entire conversation. I do not believe that Hassan is anti-Semitic. That has never
that's the
come
weird
up.
thing too.
Where does this?
I watch a lot of his streams, and if you're making those types of arguments, it has to be in bad faith or you're at least clip chimping, as he would say.
I don't know if
I just never have witnessed anything even remotely like that.
I haven't followed this close enough, but I don't know if it's in bad faith as much as it is, at least in the instance of Ethan, that it is very, very difficult for some people who are attached to an idea or certain realities or have family there or whatnot to reconcile what they're seeing. Yeah. I mean, I know people who literally don't believe that anybody has died in Gaza. They think it's all fake. I mean,
It's infuriating because I've experienced way more hostility and anti-Semitism from fellow Jews than Hassan Morgan or anyone who's been attacked this week. Yeah, I mean, because we're not anti-Semitic. Like, humans are intrinsically social beings. Civilization begins when we take care of the vulnerable, and it crumbles when we are violent. Fascism is anti-evolutionary, and progress and freedom is in our human spirit. I agree with that for sure.
The amount of denial, we're in that era, that phase of the epoch where it is so hard to deny, even if you can justify.
I've said it a billion times, Hasanabi. If at any point I felt that this chat's room status as one of the safest and best regulated places against anti-Semitism on the internet was in question, I would make it known or leave. I'm still fucking here. That, I mean, I see it. I view the anti-Semitism allegations, smears, not even allegations, the smears in the same vein as I view people saying that I'm transphobic. And sure, there are plenty of people who still maintain this belief that I am transphobic, right? Some trans people online probably think that I am transphobic, right? This is one of the largest trans communities online, you know? It does not matter. It does not matter what people say. This does not change my analysis. This does not change my advocacy. I can't counter a false framing that you have hallucinated. That's it. It's a coordinated and targeted smear campaign that is being laundered via this drama. It's completely fucking selfish and bigoted. All of it is in bad faith and it's coming from a very specific corner of the internet. Yeah. I think the dominant American version of Jewish authenticity is deeply cornered into the Zionist paradigm, one where you have to hold your tie to exist in exile, but now in relation to an actually existing Israel. I don't know how to resolve the contradictions between this national existence and humanist Jewish values or what new Jewish authenticity would look like. I don't know if you can do that while retaining any national framework and what that means for Israeli Jews. I don't. What's the second part of that? Time without an OWO. I know you're not anti-Semitic, but with the right clips, I can understand why some things make some people uncomfortable. I think that's a problem with streaming 8 hours a day for 50 years. Not everyone will understand you to the same degree. Yeah, but the benefit of that, of my streaming 8 hours a day for fucking 10 years, not 50, is that you can also find the actual context in which I'm saying certain things. No second part, I just don't know, is for American Jews to hold those discussions. Like, you will never be able to convince me that American Jews cannot arrive at this point if there are Jews in Israel who recognize it and are anti-Zionist, like Time Without an OWO. You know what I mean? It's just crazy. I know what it's like to grow up in a fucking ultra-nationalist culture, an ultra-nationalist country. You know what I mean? I know what it's like. It takes a lot of resistance, resilience, intellectual curiosity to overcome things that people take for fucking granted. One of the best things about America, I guess, one of the kind of weaknesses about American nationalism is that they're so hyper-focused on their treats that it's like much easier to fucking examine this kind of thing, especially when paired up with the lack of interest in creating or cultivating this like national mythos in the United States of America, because like we care more about capitalism and upholding that than we do about like having some ultra-nationalist movement. Anyway, Israelism is like out to watch. Oh, this is the yeah. I kind of want to just like buy it and watch it on stream. Just say fuck it, YOLO. If you're not willing to look up the context of the criticism about you, do you realistically expect your detractors to do that for you? Yeah, no, I know the context of the criticism because I know where it's coming from. I've heard it a million times over and I've addressed it a million times over. And I think it's bad faith in general. So it's kind of silly to hyper focus on it. What I also find really funny is that like it's literally packaged clip chimps, and then people turn around and go, why won't Hassan address these bad faith smears that are directly antithetical to his values and his track record on this issue, right? Why won't they address that? And then when I even remotely address it, people turn around and clip something else out of context to only extend the conversation. It doesn't feel like a productive thing to do. There are videos out there with millions of fucking views.
Say for the sake of argument.
There are, yeah, Chatter put some effort and corrected this. Just a quick reference point to what Hassan actually believes versus the lies. 1, Hassan enables anti-Semitism to be commonplace on Twitch. No, anti-Semitism has no place in the leftist movement and has never had space in the leftist movement. Oh, wow. This is like a fucking massive effort post. Holy shit. Respect. Yeah, it's the why don't you respond to the criticism Innuendo Studios video
As
that
a reasonable moderate, ask, why don't you respond to criticism? There's a lot going on in that question, more than is immediately obvious, and it's worth understanding.
Anyway, like there are smear videos of me on every single issue that I have extensively logged countless hours on. Transphobia, white supremacy. Though I guess the one thing that they haven't smeared me on is like that I am not sufficiently like pro Middle Eastern population. That's the one thing. But we'll get there was that too. People were saying that I was not sufficiently pro Palestine because I drink Coke on stream, you know? So I guess even that exists out there in the ether. Every single thing that is readily available for all to consume on my YouTube page, on the many VODs, thousands and thousands of hours logged on every single issue. It is out there for you to see. You can find it on your own. If you have any real questions or concerns, you can figure it out. If you're like, is Hassan personally deeply invested in the success of a Shia militia group? Like, does he really like Hezbollah? Or am I getting manipulated into a false framing on the matter because he dares to explain the context in which Hezbollah exists or is seen by the broader population? That's it. A question you must ask yourself, okay? At the end of the day, the existence precedes essence. I think we can have those unresolved conversations about identity and admit we don't have the full answers, also while maintaining full determination in our pursuit for human justice. I struggle with my Jewish identity all the time, and at the same time, it's true for every one of my Israeli and Jewish anti-Zionist friends, but that's never stopped us from believing in a free Palestine. Yeah. I think it's very different, though, as an American Jew to recognize Israel being bad, even though Israeli anti-Zionists are literally on the ground. We are being pounded with propaganda about Israel, but we can't actually see it. Just like how you wouldn't see the ads if you're subscribed. I have to rely on you and other on-the-ground journalists to see what's actually going on while Israelis can just look at it right in front of them. Fucking goddamn it. Well, this is something I'll be looking forward to when I'm not running ads any longer, okay? Son of a bitch. If you no longer want to see those ads, all you need to do is subscribe. Opponent on the Majority Report made a great point that when these people analyze the terrorist groups are fighting, it's viewed as apologia, but when Western violence is put into the context and justified, it's normal. Yeah. Like, this is what I mean. The Ordinary Gamer made a video about you today. Like, dude, come on. Dog, come on. Like, I love how people that want to defend Israel will always be like, it's complicated. Let's not talk about it. Let's not say anything. And then, like, guys who invest all of their time and effort into fucking DEI initiatives in video games or whatever are now making fucking hit pieces. And now I have to take that shit seriously. Like, get the fuck out of here. Why am I supposed to talk to someone who doesn't know what the fuck they're talking about? How am I going to fucking sit here? Like, oh, I'm just going to sit here and listen to every fucking drama farming centrist YouTuber with a fucking alt-right adjacent crowd that they are desperately trying to fucking capture the attention of every single time someone makes a YouTube video. Like, it's fucking stupid. Like, let's be serious, man. Come on. Just a quick reference point to what Hassan actually believes versus the lies. 1, Hassan enables anti-Semitism to be commonplace on Twitch. No.
Come on. Anti-Semitism has no place in the leftist movement. It has never had a space in the leftist movement. The leftist movement is first and foremost comprised of revolutionary Jews to begin with, okay? It was literally attacked as a Jewish plot, as a Jewish conspiracy. That's what the Nazis said. That's why the first people they threw in the concentration camps were socialists. It is a very dangerous prospect to make this conflation, which serves the interests of anti-Semites. It all sometimes feels like, especially for Christian Zionists, okay, that they have no fear in Nazis whatsoever. I know that Jewish ultra-Zionists still understandably fear Nazis, neo-Nazis and fascists, but I am afraid of this wave of propaganda turning people's opinions and dropping them from being understandably fearful of the statistical probability that if they do withstand some kind of anti-Semitic action, it will be in the hands of a neo-Nazi rather than a Muslim person, okay? But the other side of this also is very frustrating. A chatter said, what about anti-Islam? What about Islamophobia and actions such as Islamophobic actions? We do not have a good enough mechanism, unfortunately, in the United States of America, which has in the past 3 decades made Muslims globally their major enemies in an effort to justify their blood and soil propaganda and imperialist actions in the Middle East. So there is no mechanism to truly figure out exactly what level of anti-Islamophobia or what level of Islamophobia exists in society right now. There was a
Damn, that's crazy. I guess I fucking precogged all this shit. That's why it's so funny when people say, Hassan, why don't you respond to this? Why don't you respond to that? The fuck am I supposed to do? I responded to it months before it became an issue for you, I guess. That's why I always laugh when people say, Hassan, your opinions have changed. No, they haven't. Hassan denies rapes happened on October 7. Hassan laughed at Kamala bringing up October 7 rapes. No, he doesn't. explain something. Sexual assaults are a routine part of atrocities during war. It can happen, and it has happened time and time again, which is so time and time again, which is why there's a likelihood that it could have happened on October 7. New York Times, the narrative of systematic rapes that were conducted by Hamas on October 7. The New York Times has absolutely made up their minds ahead of time before the story ever published and refuses to do their journalistic due diligence. They do engage in State Department propaganda notoriously and historically. Is why there is a likelihood that it could have happened on October 7th. This is a position that I've maintained since October 7th. There were plenty of atrocities that occurred on October 7th, okay, that are akin to acts of terror. Because on October 7th, it wasn't just the Palestinian Brigades, a coalition of resistance forces that includes Hamas, Palestinian Islamic Jihad, PFLP, DFLP, and many others. It was also, once the barrier into Israel was broken, there was also criminal elements that broke through said barrier. But as far as we saw, given how much of what happened on October 7 was filmed, including the actual real atrocities of Palestinian forces executing civilians, shooting at porta potties and the like during the Nova festival and many other circumstances, the likelihood that there wasn't firsthand accounts on rampant sexual assault in the way that the original coverage entailed that didn't meet the muster, like the normal standard of the New York Times reporting, there are some reasons for it, because this was, for all intents and purposes, as far as the Palestinian resistance goes, a operation that was, in their own words, much more successful than they had predicted. They thought that there would be a lot more resistance overall, and that once the dam broke, there was a ton more violence than a quick in and out operation where they would be able to capture some prisoners of war as hostages in an effort to bargain, yeah. So there's that. Hassan is doing bigotry of low expectations. Hassan expects nothing from this kid, Yemeni genocide survivor, no decency, no quality. Consistent on reactionaries. Okay? Because no one is born a reactionary. No one is born a conservative, but let's say someone is conservative here. They automatically teleported and adjusted the material conditions of conservatism in Iran. They would be no different than the mullah. No one is born a conservative. But let's say someone was someone that is conservative here, if they automatically teleported and adjusted to the material conditions of like conservatism in Iran, they would be no different than the mullahs. That's my opinion. Like, and not only that, but in terms of the Yemeni kid, like, I went into that interview, and I've repeated myself quite a bit, right? I went into that interview assuming that there's a likelihood that he might be Houthi, okay? A Houthi rebel, a Houthi pirate, right? Aside from the memes and whatnot, that was my overarching assumption. There is a likelihood that this person, because at the time, we had seen him like going towards the ship and whatnot on a fucking dinghy. I did not know that it was a tourist destination in Yemen, basically, that you can go to and fucking take photos of or whatever. Having said that, however, in the interview, I wanted to first and foremost humanize him, okay, and make him feel comfortable despite the fucking communications barrier that we had, the language barrier that we had. And beyond that, I wanted to dive a little bit deeper into the background of a person who has experienced only genocide, who has grown up under genocide, okay? That is real. You might not know about this. You might not know about the famine in Yemen. You might not know about like American-backed actions of Saudi Arabia in Yemen, UAE in Yemen, but it still doesn't matter. Like, that is a real thing that occurred, okay? Having said that, in that conversation, and in many conversations since then, where this person has given interviews to Sky News, for example, he has reiterated the position that he is not a Houthi, that he is simply Yemeni. Like, he is simply a person from Yemen, a kid from Yemen, a social media influencer. Okay? If he was a Houthi rebel, for the record, if he was a Houthi rebel, I still see value in interviewing that person. Okay? But I'm not gonna sit here and be like, nah, there's this 19-year-old who has a gun in Yemen, the second highest gun ownership per capita country on the planet after the United States of America, is automatically a Houthi terrorist who is deeply invested in the actions of the Ansar Allah movement because people are fucking screaming about it. Okay? That's it. All right? And I know that the major anger and resentment coming from a lot of people is like, oh, you asked him about whether he watches anime or not. Of course. Yes. Like I said, my job, first and foremost, was to understand this person's development. Okay, how he got to this position that he is in. Houthi social media sensation compared to Hollywood stars calls on UK and US to stop this war. In this conversation, the 19-year-old Yemeni has been dubbed Tim Houthi Chalamet and the hot Houthi pirate on the internet for his videos on the Red Sea. Attacks by Yemen's Houthi fighters, officially known as supporters of God or Ansar Allah in Arabic, have been made against Israel and on commercial ships. The Iranian-backed group has defied repeated warnings to stop targeting ships. U.S. and British forces have launched strikes in the area. But Rashid told Sky News he has been posting videos about his experience to show solidarity with Palestine. Through translation, he added, "My message is that they stop this war and reassess the situation in Palestine. There are children starving, thirsty, dying under bombardment in Gaza, like a 2-year-old dying from bombardment. Why? Because of the actions of the Zionists. Yemen stood with Palestine and was being bombarded for his solidarity, but this hasn't affected us and we continue to stand by Palestine." He considers himself a media personality, but his main mission is to spread awareness about Palestine. Rashid had to keep setting up new accounts as the previous ones on Facebook would get shut down. All of the Yemeni people are with Ansar Allah and with Palestine. Even if I appear with arms, all Yemeni carry arms. It's normal, he added. The reason why he answered this question is because they probably asked him, even though it's not mentioned in this article, whether he was a Houthi himself or if he was Ansar Allah, where he says all the Yemeni people are with Ansar Allah, as in he is not a part of Ansar Allah, as he said to me in the interview. Okay? Just so people understand, just so people have an understanding of this. Not that it fucking matters. This part is also interesting to hear. Sam talks about the terrorist apologist accusation here.
I said that he had been doing, I think it was like, he has been doing worse than apologia for Houthis and Hezbollah or something.
Okay.
And it was taken as like you can't criticize, resistance groups.
Yeah, I mean, I think...
And I could go into the examples of what made me recoil, but...
This is a different chatter. Context, caller had sent a message a week before this. This is Bullprog. I assume that's like another content creator.
That's not what I want to do.
Yeah, no, I get it. I mean, I think, like, look, it's a nuanced question because undoubtedly,
Sam doesn't need to know anything about the details of like whatever is like clip chimped or whatever. He might even take what this person is saying at face value. But you know what's interesting about this? It ultimately doesn't matter because he knows that when you contextualize any kind of violent resistance movement that is outside of American sphere of influence, you will get fucking terror jacketed. Okay? He knows this because he has been doing this for many, many years. And he has been attacked viciously as well. Most of the time, however, these attacks used to come from the right. Liberals were, at the very least, a little bit more understanding and did not engage in this level of immediate, like, oh, you're a terrorist supporter, you're a terrorist defender. So
there is an attempt to define these groups, whether it's the Houthis or Hezbollah or Hamas, or the Israelis for that matter, in the most absolutist terms. And certainly, you can have terror tactics and be a liberation movement, and people can make assessments as to tactics and to efficacy, because people always, make these assessments. The Houthis, I don't think are, I don't think they're role models, as it were. There was value to some degree.
That's what I was getting at.
What's that?
That's kind of what I was getting at.
Okay, but then there is no argument, okay? Because I have time and time again talked about this aspect of this, of their civil governance or their domestic affairs or their ideological positioning as being directly at odds with mine. Same with Hezbollah, right? It is utterly irrelevant in the conversation surrounding their actions against Israel's endless bombing campaign. And this is what I always say.
This is what I always say. Always. If you look to Hezbollah's like ideological position on gay people, okay, or the Houthis' ideological position on gay people, or their actions that they've taken against gay people in Yemen, and you turn around and go, damn, dog, can't believe you're defending that. You're a fucking idiot. I have never defended that, and I will never defend that. The point is, it is utterly irrelevant in the grand scheme of things. It is utterly irrelevant because the reason why they're being bombed is not because of their, death campaign or destruction campaign upon gay people or whatever, okay? If you personally believe that Operation Prosperity Guardian is being done to defend homophobia or to fight against homophobia, you are the biggest rube of all time. Hassan Nasrallah was not assassinated by the state of Israel for Hezbollah's actions in Syria. Hassan Nasrallah was not assassinated by the state of Israel for being homophobic. Hassan Nasrallah was assassinated by the state of Israel alongside PFLP and DFLP leaders who had nothing to do with the cross-border bombing campaign that was going between Hezbollah and Israel, by the way. But they still were assassinated in that same night because of his position as a figurehead that resists against Israeli bombing campaigns in Gaza. That's it. Not actually irrelevant. It's just that it should be treated as a different issue. No, it is irrelevant in this conversation. Okay? It is irrelevant in this conversation, especially in the same vein that, like, if you were to turn around and be like, well, sorry, I don't know what like America's opinion on gay people was in the 40s, so I will not fucking talk about like their actions against the Nazi regime. That's ridiculous. People would fucking laugh at you if you were like, well, excuse me, America was a segregationist shithole in the 40s. So what? Were they the bad guys in World War II? No, they weren't. The only reason why people bring this shit up in conversations like this is the exact same reason over and over again. They did this with the Taliban. Like, I'm not a fucking fan of the Taliban. What are you, stupid? It's to justify permanent occupation. That's it. It is a way to try and be like, well, they're bad guys too. It's like, yeah, sure. Are you fixing it? Or are we the big bad? Yeah, it's like saying British sterilized gay people, so they actually were the bad guys in World War II. America was a racist apartheid regime during the 30s and 40s. Stalin was a racist conservative opportunist who was responsible for Holodomor. The British Empire was doing genocide and doing colonialism for many decades leading up to World War II and during World War II. The Nazis were such an insane evil that the Allies are very clearly and correctly viewed as the good guys. Context matters. Exactly. And yes, no, Stalin did have conservative leanings. Let's be fucking real, okay? Calm down. Like, he did. He had a lot of right opinions, especially within the framework of World War II. And he also wasn't the best fucking wasn't the best governor, okay? I don't think that is a I don't think that is a controversial take. See, the reason why we can have this conversation, however, is because now we are having this conversation within the historical framework. Okay? Yeah, they did. They chemically castrated Turing because he was gay, the guy who pretty much saved the war. I know. So, anyway, the example I like to use is how Florida has that law that says they have to teach slavery, had some upsides, but you won't hear me saying they deserve Milton. Exactly. Let's continue.
Yeah, I mean, look, there was value.
There's a lot of stuff going on. And
some of their tactics I found were valuable, right? Like somebody is at least trying to inhibit and make Israel pay a price that's associated with their attacks.
The only people fighting for them. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I totally
but at
get
the
that.
same time,
and like
at the same time, you're exacerbating at one point the starvation in Sudan. Some of those ships are sending goods and sending food supplies and aid to Sudan. I mean, so it's not, none of it is black and white. And I think, but certainly like the idea that, there's total denial that Hamas was is a liberation movement. People can, I think,
disagree with people can disagree with their methods. Okay? They can. And there has been many thoughtful criticisms of their methods and even historical reference points as to how they evolved into the violent actions that they thought were appropriate in terms of causing the settler colonial state to incur a penalty for its maintenance of the apartheid. Okay? I don't even agree with what Sam said in terms of like Ansar Allah is responsible for, some harm in Sudan. But especially considering that one of the countries that also was responsible for the fucking famine and genocide in Yemen is currently also responsible for the RSF doing a genocide in Sudan. Please just say anything about Sudan. I have talked about it before. What do you mean? Then talk about Sudan for once. I have. It's the UAE.
Immoral to kill civilians. People can, like I've already said, from an international law standpoint, I think Hamas probably has, more standing than most people give them credit for. I do know that the ICJ had or is seeking warrants for crimes against humanity, both for Sinwar and I think his number two and Netanyahu and Gallant. And I defer to, those prosecutions as to the validity of those.
A person asked, like, where is this assessment coming from? I mean, you can Google it yourself, but to end Sudan's war, here's from foreignpolicy.com. It's one of those few issues where you can go to foreignpolicy.com and actually see exactly what the fuck is going on, because it's one of those few issues where, like, it's our ally doing it, but, like, we don't really have a direct involvement, so we can actually fucking criticize it. Why can't uBlock work anymore? What is happening here? I hate that. How do I... Oh, here it is. Never mind. I fucking did it. I did the dang thing. Sudan civil war, fueled by secret arms shipments from UAE and Iran. Despite denials, weapons inspection... I like that they put Iran in there. Okay, Chrome is breaking it. No, it's fine. It worked. The ongoing crisis there has reached a catastrophic proportion, yet the international community's response remains woefully inadequate. A series of missteps and political maneuvers have undermined efforts to provide meaningful assistance to those in desperate need, and the Rapid Support Forces, the RSF, the paramilitary group responsible for much of the violence, has yet to be held accountable for actively destroying the country's food reserves. The situation demands immediate action and a drastic shift in approach from global leaders and institutions. At the core of this failure is the United Nations Security Council's persistent delays in addressing findings from its own panel of experts on Sudan. These findings document credible allegations of the United Arab Emirates' involvement in violating Darfur's arms embargo by supplying the RSF with weapons and ammunition. Furthermore, The Guardian reported that the UK government officials have been blocking discussions of the UAE's involvement in the Security Council for months, including after the Labour Party took power in July. So if you want to understand, it is like somewhat associated with the Western leadership refusing to reckon, Western leadership refusing to rein UAE in. But once again, we rarely ever get our allies in the region to rein it in, seemingly, especially when, you're going to laugh about rape or deny it today. Chatter, I think you should probably watch this. You should probably look at this if you are legitimately concerned with this. This will probably cause you to understand that you are maybe deluded or wrong. I like that there is this massive effort post, by the way. Respect to the person who made that. I don't think that you care about the truth, though. You want to hear about how another person from a different community defends genocide calling into the majority report? No, hold on. Let's just finish this.
And so, I don't want to be rooting on someone who, those prosecutors, neither of whom have been convicted, but, that's not usually what I recommend, is a recommendation to me. But I also think that the preponderance of, on some level, it's just a sheer propaganda war, right? I mean, there's no, like I say, that I have friends of my father's calling to ask if I'm an anti-Semite makes me feel like this is, hey, wait, maybe we're not. Maybe this isn't just like a straight on assessment of what's going on here. And and so I can certainly see from a rhetorical standpoint and from a propaganda standpoint, like you don't want to show up at a a gunfight with a knife, as it were. But yeah, I wouldn't worry about it. I wouldn't worry about
I just say, Bullprug, I appreciate you calling in, and I want to say, like, I do, like, I feel defensive about what Hassan's going through, and I know so does Emma, and we have a disagreement there, but just generally, I do think there's a tension here, and one thing, a quote from Fred Hampton weeks before he died after a Weatherman riot in Chicago, he said, "We believe that the Weatherman action is anarchistic, opportunistic, individualistic, it's chauvinistic, it's custoristic, and that's the bad part about it. It's custoristic in that its leaders take people into situations where they can be massacred, and they call that a revolution. It's nothing but child's play. It's folly. We think these people may be sincere, but they're misguided. They're muddleheads and they're scatterbrains." So, like, generally, I do appreciate all the work you've done out there, actually in the streets, and seeing this stuff. So, yeah, no hard feelings on our part.
Yeah. Well, my closing message that I kind of wanted to get across is that, like, I care about you guys. I care about the rest of the crew. I care about all the listeners. And, like, I just don't want people to burn themselves on some silly stuff. And, like, there are ways to stay on message without.
Yeah, you're right, man. I should, that's a good criticism. Call missing some context. No, it's just like, it's such a silly fucking thing, dude. It's such a silly type of criticism coming from someone who's, like, ostensibly on the leftist side of this issue, because it's like what are you talking about? You got fucking primed into believing that, like, I want some kind of, like, Islamist fundamentalism to occur because of my contextualization of how resistance groups operate. Like, come on. Like, tone policing genocide is ridiculous. Yeah, he says we should stay on message and then complains about something that happened a year ago. I know. It's like, it's almost as ridiculous as, like, oh, I don't want an adpocalypse to happen, but also I hope it does, is fucking ridiculous. You want it to happen. You're, like, demanding that it happens, as a matter of fact. He compared you to some teens at a protest who graffiti kill cops. That's the context. Yeah, except I have also, ironically, criticized people who go to fucking pro-Palestinian protests and then do that shit where they're like, we're going to kill all the fucking Zionists. Like, you live in America, man. You live in fucking the United States of America. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? You can't be saying shit like that. So, I understand how passionate people get in these moments and how frustrated people get in these fucking moments, but that kind of LARPing is also ineffective. So on the optics front, I have also regularly talked about that being, especially in the West, not a fucking appropriate method of protest. So that's another part of this equation, okay? I always say over and over again, you can never be as callous as right-wingers are, and you shouldn't anyway. Regardless, if you were to turn around and fucking compare that to, like, some fucking random 19-year-old in Yemen posting a similar image, you are insane, okay? You have to recognize what the fuck these people's their lived experiences look like. Okay? Yes, I will always have smoke for someone who grew up in the fucking Upper West Side saying some shit like that, versus, like, it is immaterial in the grand scheme of things when someone living in fucking Yemen is posting shit like that. Okay? It's immaterial. Like, it's still wrong, but it doesn't fucking matter in the grand scheme of things. You could die at any fucking moment. Okay? It's ridiculous. People have compared this dude that I interviewed 10 fucking months ago at this point, like, even before I believe the Houthis were brought back into the fucking terrorist watch list, by the way, even though Brandon took them off the watch list, but then put them back on to launch Operation Prosperity Guardian, like, to Osama bin Laden, the architects of 9/11 and shit. It's like, dude, come on. Come the fuck on. Anyway. That chatter complain about BLM supporters writing kill cops on a courthouse wall. That's what I'm saying. It's like, it does not take away from the overarching message. I said this during the Black Lives Matter protests as well. Let's just be honest here. Someone in their community are here crashing out and punching at any pro-Palestinian streamers. Yeah. I don't disagree with Bullprog larger point, but the way he connected it back to you was just insane bullshit. I believe their gender pronouns are they, them, as someone corrected me in the chat. I did not know that, by the way. And why do I get 15-year-old D fans in my DMs now trying to explain to me about some clip I haven't seen and how you were secretly using Sabra hummus as an anti-Israeli racial slur? God was trying to explain to me, an Israeli, what the term Zabar means and how it secretly has some racial meaning. It doesn't. Genuinely felt like talking to a paranoid schizophrenic. Any idea what they're referring to? I don't know what the fuck Zabar means. What is Zabar? I don't even know what that means. I don't think I've ever used that. That is pretty funny, though. Like telling a Jewish Israeli anti-Zionist whose fucking family is also from Yemen, by the way. Like, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm a fucking Christian guy. I'm a white Christian dude in Iowa. And let me tell you, okay, you, my friend, it means, is it Zabar, like a different way of saying Sabra? I didn't even know that. Lamau is literally just Sabra in Hebrew. Oh, okay. Like, let me tell you, sir, a Jewish Israeli anti-Zionist, let me tell you what's what, okay? You are actually under fire in this community. You are not recognizing the danger that is presented to you, my friend. Zabar is a Hebrew term for Sabra and is historically been used by Zionists to describe this new Jewish archetype of the Zionist era. It's very sociologically charged, but it's not a racial slur. He told me, you're so close. Yeah. And he said, watch 5 minutes of a Destiny stream. Dude, they are so passionate. I just wish that they would use this passion. That's the handle? It's this guy? Oh, no fucking way. Ain't no way. I know who that is. Ain't no way. This is a juicer. They used to be such a kind chatter and their brain broke from the fucking juicer fallout. Damn, that's sad, dude. I can't believe they've become that much of a fucking Boner Chelly fan. Damn, I'm so goddamn parasocial with my own fucking chatters. It's crazy. Yeah, someone fell in the rookie hole, dude. You're so close. It's such a Reddit thing to say. Yeah. Damn, dude. Why do you have this random chatter committed to memory? Because he's like a particularly kind individual who was always like very good natured and was an active and prominent member of this community. And now after being banned, he just like sits around in the chat and looks at usernames that I pull up to individually DM them about how bad I am. That's sad. That makes me sad. He still DMs me on Discord with drama clips from your stream to try and turn me. It's so fucked up because I thought Kevin was younger than me. He's Hassan's age. Oh my God. Okay, I didn't know that. I thought he was like a young juicer. God damn. Okay, never mind. There are a lot of people like him out there. It's depressing to think about that, like, there is a 33-year-old juicer out there who is like DMing each individual person. They said that at TwitchCon you were secretly making a racial tier list with Israelis at the bottom. Again, I didn't watch TwitchCon, so I was clueless, but who knows? Maybe you're speaking in code, Hassan. He was, however, very kind and just said, I'm trying to help you. Strange experience. Wait, he thinks I was doing a tier list at TwitchCon? I wasn't even a part of that Arabs podcast tier list. What the fuck? The level of hallucination at this point is hilarious. Yes, and Sabra was code for Israelis. Yeah, no, it was... I genuinely felt bad. Hasanabi, dude, I avoided you for so long because of how crazy your haters made you sound, even though I knew I probably agree with you about most everything politically. You got deranged haters, man. I know, but ultimately, you have to remember something, okay? You have to remember something important. You're here, you know? It doesn't fucking matter. I think in a long enough timeline, given that history does have a tendency to vindicate me on a lot of these issues that I speak of, many people, for one reason or another, will inevitably get to a point where they go, who is speaking out against this inequality that I am experiencing? And considering my track record and my political opinions on every single fucking issue and the long history that I have dedicated to speaking out on virtually every kind of bigotry, every kind of issue, you will inevitably arrive at something you care about. And then you're going to see my coverage on that and go, oh my God, I was fucking wrong. I was so goddamn wrong. Just like that one chatter is, right? So what matters is you might have these opinions at first. You might be primed into fucking hating me. But there is going to be a moment where you see the truth. either through genuine intellectual curiosity or because you want to maybe come in here to fucking hate watch. Okay? And then you're going to be like, okay, maybe these guys are just fucking lying about this person. And then once you start recognizing that those people that are lying are so malicious and so fucking insane, you will, you will probably look at other things that I talk about in a very different way. Once that bond of trust is broken, once the way that I was presented to you does not meet the reality when you see it with your own two eyes, you will inevitably be more charitable.
Taking stances out of reflexive reaction or spite, and because like fascists will exploit your emotions and use your reactions against you. And we have to be careful about giving in to cynicism, because that's when we start letting go of hope and turning towards darker paths. And, a community might start saying something ironically, and soon enough people are just saying it, and the memes become what they actually mean, like what happened with 4chan and Pepe and all that stuff. So we have an adage that we use at George Floyd Square about a snow globe, where something will come and shake you up, and it will be hard to see for a minute.
Yeah, the youth demand Shia Islam. The youth are going to demand Shia Islam. They are going to see the light of Allah, okay, because of the actions of Hezbollah, and they are going to yearn for Shia Islam. Where is our mullahs, I say? The American Christian dominance has gone on for far too long. Everyone knows that the United States of America must be led into the new era by seeing the light of Allah, recognizing Muhammad as his prophet, and changing our secular governance structure away from Christian values to one that reflects the true light of Allah, Shia Islam. It's literally going to be like those two communists with a book club in Disco Elysium. Very worrying. Yeah, the children yearn for the Ayatollah. Bro, you need to say this as a joke. They will believe you. I am saying this as a joke. That's fucking nuts. This is what the English right actually thinks is happening? Yeah. Renaming my 8-year-old Muhammad right now. Smart.
But if you take a moment to settle, the vision of the core goal becomes clear again. So, yeah.
Well, Prague, appreciate
my
it.
heart goes out to everyone.
Thank you. Really appreciate your...
The only reason why the fucking 4chan memes become real life shit is because it's homegrown extremism. It's homegrown fundamentalism. This is no different than assuming that, like, America is going to adopt Sharia law. Okay? You have to be insane. Worry about, as do I, our own domestic extremism, instead of assuming that magically Americans are going to turn to Hezbollah as a form of civil governance here in the United States of America. You're fucking insane. Having said that, there are some other points. No, Hassan supports Russia. No, he doesn't. He also raised $200K for Ukraine. Hitler, which, by the way, Vladimir Putin is bad. Look at the sign. Actually, sorry, I forgot. We elevated that to Vladimir Putin is very bad. From bad to very bad. Look at the sign. Then you have to go to war. You have to go do dance-offs on TikTok with Russia. Hassan and his community are fundraising for Care.org Ukraine Crisis Fund, $200,000 so far. Here's the Russian military ad. According to Russia, they don't know who the fuck you are, but they don't seem to like me a lot. Meanwhile, turns out, according to Russia, they don't know who the fuck you are, but it seems like they don't like me a lot. Uncanny. Okay, do you put my face on it? Shut the fuck up. Yeah, I got dunked on by the Russian government. That was cool. Hassan defends Chinese colonialism openly. He's pro-genocide in Tibet. Not even debatable. He said it himself. He said their culture is inferior and that China did them a favor by taking them over. That's genocide. No, he doesn't. Tibet was a feudal, oppressive, slavery-backed autonomous state. Guardian, 98% of the population was enslaved.
Way to describe Taiwan as well. The American federal government going into the fucking South and killing, unfortunately not all of them, but a decent amount of slavers and defenders of slavery. This is violent retribution from a powerful federal government.
Yeah. That comparison is very frustrating for a lot of people because they were like, how dare you say that? Yeah, it's not even an apt comparison because the fucking Mao's groups would not have any kind of, would have no motion whatsoever if it wasn't for Tibetans themselves that had a anti-feudal uprising. Anyway, what is this?
This is from The Guardian. Until 1959, when trying to crack down on Tibetan rebels in the...
Yeah. It's just like, I don't think that like Tibetan culture is a fucking barbaric or anything like that, okay? It's the Tibetans themselves that, rose up against feudal slavery. Anyway, the only place we deviate is that I don't think we should displace 8 million Jews that were born there. Hassan agrees. Why I don't believe in a two-state solution any longer.
So,
not only do I agree with that no displacement of Jews that live there, I have had this conversation directly with Ethan. So I don't know what the fuck he's talking about in terms of in terms of his belief that I think I believe that we should displace all of the people that live there. We had this conversation directly. Here it is.
There already is a one state. Like, the way I see it, the actual legitimate reason as to why I don't believe in a two-state solution any longer is because there is a one state, right? And that one state is an apartheid state. It's a constant Israeli occupation in the West Bank and constant control over Gaza as well, which has been a demonstrable failure for Israeli security, obviously. You and I agree on that. But my solution, basically, when I say I want a one state, is first and foremost a moral one, because I do want the end to the apartheid so that Palestinians can have recognition, it can continue a life of dignity, have autonomy, and participate in a secular democratic process. But the alternative is, the way I see it is is it a one state that is an apartheid, or is it a one state that doesn't have an apartheid? And
you're saying it could still be the state of Israel.
I don't care what it's called. I have no interest in discussing that. I care more about human beings that live there.
I guess, it's like this.
I have said time and time again that I think it would be unimaginable cruelty to displace hundreds of thousands of people living in the West Bank. Okay? That it is completely, it's just not going to happen. Not only will it never happen, but also on top of that, it would be cruel. Okay? And that is precisely the reason why I believe that Israel has made it inevitable that there can only be a one state if there is a just solution to all of this. Okay? Admission to slander for a year, Hassan was constantly elevating people that want me to fucking die and running defense for people that fucking... Wait, what is this? Ease admission to slander?
And that's why for a year. It was just constant elevating people that want me to fucking die and running defense for people that fucking hate me.
Yeah, that's also completely untrue. There was another effort post specifically on this on my subreddit that there was also another post on this on my subreddit specifically about how I had consistently defended Ethan throughout the entire process for the past year, saying that all things that I have heard from him directly, all things that I have seen from him directly contradict him being this Israel defender. Having said that, however, of course, I have also tried to communicate to Ethan that while I know that you are not a defender of Israel, okay, people are not going to know what's in your heart and what's in your mind, and they only respond to what you are putting out there. So if 12 months of genocide and your output is specifically about people calling you a Zionist over and over again, including but not limited to many different moments where people would come in here and be like, he made fun of Aaron Bushnell, who self-immolated. He did this, he did that. He kept repeating certain talking points over and over again. And it's all of that is going to obviously cause people to assume that you are more invested in one side of this conversation. Even in that conversation that we had months ago, that last conversation that we had in person, when he made a comparison about JVP, Jewish Voice for Peace, saying that there were capos as well in the Nazi regime that collaborated with the Nazi regime, that I tried to explain to him that I don't think you mean this, and yet people will hear that. People will hear that and assume that that's what you mean. of course people are going to assume that that's what you are saying. So that's what I meant at the time when I tried to explain, like, there's only so much I can do in terms of like stopping the fucking flow of criticism coming your way when you present yourself a certain way to the broader audience and you don't actually show the audience like what the full scale of your framework is. The moral of the whole story is what you said. If you repeat what Zionists say, you can't stop people from thinking you're a Zionist. Exactly. Here, this is the other effort pose. Timestamp breakdown. Hasan defends Ethan on September 13th, 2024. Ethan took a clip from this stream out of context on his show, so I figured it would be a good idea to add context by breaking down the stream with timestamps. Impossible to argue that Hasan is doing anything but standing up for Ethan and telling off his chat in the stream, regardless of what Ethan's unhinged, untrue rant calling for his friend to be banned on Twitch will have you think. Ethan turning off comments on the video when fans disagree with him in the comments is insane. I think a lot of people fail to consider that when I choose not to show certain things coming from Ethan's side, it is not because I'm fearful of the brilliant points that he's making. It's more so that it's disappointing, it's sad to see, and beyond that, it's more so to, in some ways, not present him in the worst possible fucking light that he is desperately presenting himself as. Hasan begins reacting to the video why the Leftovers podcast ended. Hasan talks about why he never talks about Ethan, why Leftovers ended, because parasocialism and him not being at odds with Ethan on Israel-Palestine. Hasan says he doesn't care that Ethan calls him out because he knows Ethan's heart is in the right place about Israel-Palestine, regardless of how he treats Hasan's community and mods. Hasan defends Ethan, telling off his chat and saying that Ethan will never become MAGA. Anti-Semitism is abhorrent and completely unacceptable. I have never allowed it. It is my red line. Hasan says when he looks back at Leftovers, he's happy that it happened. Hasan supports enjoying Ethan's content, even when people disagree. Stark tone difference from Ethan saying Hasan should be banned on Twitch because of how Hasan's content makes him feel, don't you think? Hasan says that he got the feeling that Ethan thought Hasan was trying to turn the H3 community against Ethan, when Hasan was instead offering him more charitability and banning chatters who came into the stream to shit talk Ethan / cause drama. Hasan defends Ethan's character, even when Ethan gets too passionate and flies off the rails, because ultimately Hasan thinks Ethan's heart is in the right place. Hasan says Ethan is 90% of the way on the correct stance on Israel-Palestine. Hasan says, please point to anti-Semites in the chat so we can ban them. Says anti-Semitism is banned in his community. Of course, because it always has been. Hasan tells off a chatter for condemning Ethan instead of commending Ethan for having the correct take in 2021. Hasan tells chat to shut the fuck up, and he hates that they don't care about his well thought out opinion and hates how they call Ethan a Nazi and why he hates covering drama with Ethan. And he knows that people will spin his opinion to prove his community is anti-Semitic. Hasan goes off on chat again, calling them crazy and telling them they can't be normal, saying that it's not Destiny chatters cosplaying, but rather people who say he is not sufficiently leftist. If I ever catch someone talking maliciously about Gila, I will ban you. You are an unhinged psycho. Permanently bans chatter talking bad about Ethan. Hasan correctly predicts a reasonable take on the issue will not get clipped, but instead an out of context take will be clipped by Boner Chelly's community, which Ethan did use, by the way. Not only did he go directly to the fucking subreddit, but he also straight up used a clip from a clip titled Hasanabi. How can I view that in any framework but pure, unadulterated, unregulated Islamophobia? An unlisted clip titled Hasanabi. Like, that's insane, man. That's insane. That's actually fucking insane. That is not good faith at all. There is no way for me to actually fucking look at that and treat that with like kindness and charitability beyond what I've done. I think the most charitable thing that I can do is refuse to talk about it. You know, it's insane that you support CCP. Okay, dude. I just want high-speed rail in the United States of America. I want even development in rural communities in the United States of America, okay? I want healthcare in the United States of America. I want good college education in the United States of America that is free. I want better educational opportunities for every single American, okay? That's it. Hasan identifies someone posting in the HU subreddit as a D fan, LSF stalker who's been clipping him for 5 years. Frogan clip from Ethan's podcast. Hasan correctly predicts that all that will come out of the situation is drama that turns into drama content and says that his audience is annoying and don't listen to him. Hasan correctly predicts that random chatters' unnecessary chirping messages will be twisted against them. Ethan showed them on stream today. Hasan rage quits on chat, explaining how their acting is why Leftovers ended, asking his chat to focus on what matters and will advance the cause of a free Palestine. Just felt this VOD / response from Hasan deserves a voice because Ethan didn't mention that Hasan defends him and tells off his chat about it. This is from September 13th, 2024. If you look back at the early stages of the saga and the drama, you will recognize that I had time and time again done more than this, okay? More than this. Such a well thought out record keeping of Hassan's reasonableness, but have you considered that Hassan is a Muslim and sending waves to signal his audience? Is there any chance that all he sees is and gives you charitability? Oh, I want it for him. I don't know, maybe. Like that DanClancySucks.com website is literally reskinned Hasanabi.com, by the way. Because even they realize that like that level of Islamophobic fervor is probably not going to present well to a broader audience. So they like basically reskinned it. And it's all fucking clips that are completely clipped out of context that go directly against things that I believe in. And this has been ongoing for the past year because that community, Bonercelli's community, is way more predisposed with making a mockery and presenting a false narrative surrounding one of the loudest voices that is pro-Palestinian emancipation than the actual genocide. They don't give a shit. They do not give a fucking shit. Why do this? He's just going to misconstrue your points like last night. It's okay because there's 38,000 people in here and not every single person in here is totally fucking primed and totally tuned into this shit. So it deserves some level of recognition for those who are in here who are like, I don't really understand. I thought you were a cool guy, but now I'm thinking that you're a fucking, pro-Islamist fundamentalist terrorist, dude. Like, what the fuck? For a year, Hassan was constantly elevating people that fucking hate me. Hassan has always defended I think you're a good person. Just understand that people don't know the empathy that you have and simply see similar talking points that they've heard from others that don't demonstrate that same empathy.
That's all
Ethan,
I'm doing.
I know. I never
You
said that.
disagree, clearly. That's it. And that's fine.
I've never said any of those things against you. And I don't believe that. I'm simply trying to describe the position of Palestinians in this matter on this front. And
I understand, bro. I understand. I've listened to you. I agree.
I'm sorry. I don't want to fight. I think this is like, I mean, it sucks. And I'm sorry that I made you feel a certain way. I'm sorry that my community. He's pretending that he has nothing to do with this. Ridiculous. He pulled a sub up on stream. I don't know why he's embarrassed about the association with Destiny. Like, I actually don't get it. Like, it's not like we've seen it. I know where these talking points are coming from. Like, I know where these clips out of context are coming from. And it's like my position on this has not changed, which is ironic because people at the time did not fucking comprehend this. Like people at the time were thinking like, oh, he's saying he has no control. He has no control over his own fucking community. Hassan has no control over his community. That's not what I was saying at all. Okay? There's only so much I can do, but I cannot mind control people into assuming that you are pro-Palestinian when you are using similar talking points to those who are, pro-Israel. I think people know that community is unhinged and obsessed, so Ethan knows it discredits his narrative. He's receiving all these clips served on a platter, trickled down long after you've dealt with them, and he probably knows it. No. So yeah, I think like this does a pretty good job. I think this does a pretty solid job of like, maybe showcasing like what the narrative is. You said this exact quote. I know it's weird that I repeat myself so much and have to do it time and time again. It's because D called ex podcast buddy a R word several times, so it was pathetic for him to capitulate that openly. Yeah, aren't there fucking logs of Destiny time and time again saying like Ethan is R worded over and over again? He's like pathetic and all this shit, and until basically this was a good vehicle to fucking unload the frustrations that you feel. Because it seems, I remember people at the time being mad at you in bad faith, obviously, for being nice to people you know personally. He saw the same critique come up recently too. Damned if you do, damned if you don't. But the point is, you've always been courteous and have never done anything that could possibly be construed as leading your followers to harass anyone. Yes, even this clip itself says, please be nice in the comments and do not harass Ethan. Hassan and Ethan are friends. Be respectful. Not just logs, but clips. He said he had an IQ of 80. Yes, there are tons of clips. Yeah. It's just strange that like this level of serialized, systematized, open fucking cyber stalking and mass harassment campaigns is so normal, and there's like not really anything you can do. But yeah, I have to obviously still address some of this fucking slander, you know? What is this? We've seen such a weird progression of Twitter wokeness to where now a plainly reactionary community like Destiny's can employ tools of shaming and canceling while still using slurs in the very same tweet that they do with. It's crazy that Hassan will shit all over me and call me a racist for using the N-word in quotes while doing a podcast with this guy, Lamau. Not trying to defend H3 by any means. It's just surreal how the previous generations of people calling cracker a slur would have rallied around H3 for using slurs in that clip, but have now found a way to have their cake and eat it. Appear progressive while reactionary. Yeah. That's from, you know, all the way back in 2021. That's not his account. Yes, it is. The fuck are you talking about? It was. I don't know what his new account is, but this was at the time his account. That's so funny. People are like, that's not his account. Yeah, he's been banned 1 million times over because, you know, I think you know why. I know you know
Honestly,
what everyone knows, but this was hilarious. Imagine lying to your audience so comfortably. What is this?
Pretty severe the way that he draws everything back to Destiny. I don't know him. I've never talked about him on the channel. Because Destiny's been getting like mega canceled by every conservative for saying he doesn't give a fuck about the guy who died, which is whatever. You know, here's the one where he actually had a debate with Destiny. And main guys, there's Vosh, Destiny, and Hassan, and they all fucking hate each other. They're all social, or no, Destiny's not socialist, but they're all like libs, and they all fucking hate each other. And Destiny was digging in on him, rightfully so, in my opinion. I mean, she's Louise. Being like, I'm a terrible person. I'm the worst. And as soon as Destiny gets on, he goes, fuck you, fuck yourself. You're a terrible person. He says, Destiny and Ethan Klein call me foolish for supporting the Tate's innocence. And once Destiny calls in, he starts tilting him so fucking bad and just more and more and more deranged. I guess Destiny has a problem with this guy. I think everybody has a problem with this guy outside of Fresh and Fit. Like Destiny was saying,
these are the same same type of out of context clips that D watches. Like, I know he knows who he is, dog. What the fuck do you mean? Like, of course I know he knows who Destiny is. What are you talking about? He knows that the fucking subreddit was being brigaded at the time too. Okay, it's not necessarily that like he knows who he is. It's more so what my point is not that he knows who he is and he's lying about it. That everybody knows that. Okay. It's not that. My point is he's getting his compilation of clips, I don't think from his own production staff, to do like this clipped out of context, like Hassan is fucking extremist, loves Russia, loves China shit. I think he's getting it directly from Destiny's community, which is odd. Like, bro, the Destiny subreddit are straight up celebrating providing ammo. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, he's scouring that subreddit to find Oppo on you. It's clear. It's like if I went to fucking H3 Snark, which I talked about yesterday. I was like, it's not normal to fucking follow someone that much, especially if you hate them. But like, it would literally be if I did a H3 Snark subreddit review where I compiled all the things that H3 Snark put together, and then I was like, well, these are my valid criticisms against Ethan, and then be like, he's too afraid to address them. You know what I mean? Yeah, I saw this. Here, this is, yeah, I saw this. Ethan Klein scrolling Destiny subreddit for anti-Hassan talking points. Once again, how do you arrive at a Hasanabi, unlisted Hasanabi clip? A clip titled Hasanabi that is unlisted. Anyway. For the clip of you watching Kamala and grimacing when she said Hamas graped women, what's the missing context? I don't know. Do you think that I haven't written extensively or talked extensively on October 7, the atrocities, what actually took place, the media coverage surrounding it, creating additional atrocity propaganda when it wasn't even necessary, but exclusively to fucking make it seem as though all of what do you call it? All of Israel's actions that came after October 7 would be justifiable? Or do you think that a 2-second clip is the sum total of my entire perspective on this matter? I'm a political commentator. Okay? I'm a political commentator. Do you think I haven't talked about this extensively? Ban me. You were a pretty good person to get into politics with, and I appreciate that. But after going through yours and other streamers' history, you are the most cowardly individual when it comes to defending your takes against others. DGGer for life. I'm not going to ban you, brother. I don't know if the mods already did, but I hope you live a happy life. I do mean it. God damn, dude. How the fuck do you get here? 2022. It was Dearborn. I live near there. We're going to vote on an upcoming election. We're voting on the Dearborn situation. It seems the book should be allowed for public viewing. For real, why the fuck am I here? Why am I even a liberal? Oh, yeah, because I got a 5-figure check coming from TYT. Like, that's how much of a fucking fan he was that he was joking about D-checks. You still have the old reputation of losing your shit at right-wing videos back in the day. People who don't watch say you're too opinionated. Ban me. You were a pretty good person to get into politics, and I appreciate that. But after going through yours and other streamers' history, you are the most cowardly individual when it comes to defending your takes. DGGer for life. 4/17/2023. Literally cuts off a valid point that young people aren't doing in part in research and IP. Keep cooking, bro. Don't you think you're scared of arguing against her, but you don't think a significant amount of younger voters refusing to vote over Israel-Palestine is indicative of not understanding what Trump would do in office? Whoa, sorry. Last thing, because I heard you say it. Joe Biden's office has the same immigration policies as Trump. No, I'm not arguing to be contrarian, but truly two different worldviews, but thanks for responding. My dude, I'm not learning shit from a Twitch stream, and neither are you. Do not pretend watching a stream is research. Also, literally thinks watching a stream is research. Isn't it weird to call it a cracker take? Why not just call it a normie take or something? White people don't fully support Israel or Palestine in America. This is what I've talked about in terms of like not killing the reactionary in your fucking brain. Okay? You end up inevitably adopting whatever the fucking, if your entire worldview revolves around trying to find a sense of community for yourself online, you will, before realizing it, over the course of maybe a couple years, literally go against things that you previously fought for. Okay? And it happens. Like it happens like that. This is very scary. This is scary shit. I mean, you laugh about the cartel issue, but who's actually getting into office to fix that without international support? Are you implying liberals are mad because they think she's going to implement a communist rule? How much of our family's background do you think liberals push back against? Ran through military installations. They got through a wall, my dude. Just to be clear, there's a distinction between the Israeli government's policy morals versus Israeli citizens. 10/7/2024. For the clip of you watching Kamala and grimacing when she said Hamas raped women, what is the missing context? How do you become such a loyal fucking soldier like this? Nothing. What? How the fuck did this person become a mod? Lamont, this person is not a mod. What? This could be us, Chad. We need to stay vigilant, not let a reactionary inside of us grow. I hope you cover the weirdest arc in the culture war 3 weeks out from Election Day. The skeletons from Red Scare trying to convince everyone they eat McDonald's daily. Oh, that's amazing. Yeah. It's kind of crazy that all D-chatters share the same exact vocabulary when they're asking questions just to bait you. Yeah, my dude. Come on, my dude. At least these D-chatter is charitable in describing you as grimacing instead of laughing. As someone who's watched you in the 2YT days, always so fucking wild to me seeing people who known about you that long turn against you. I know why. And I know how it happens. People are very passionate in this community, okay? People are very passionate in this community. And if there is an issue, and I'm a very passionate person, if there's an issue that they find to be at odds with their worldview, it causes them to like be shocked. It strips their identity almost. And they're like, what the fuck? I'm no longer welcome in this community. And then they seek out other places where they can get this kind of, they look for another hug box basically. And there are plenty of anti-Hassan communities out there. But obviously the number one anti-Hassan community has been the cult that it has been cyber stalking and meticulously fucking logging every moment that they can use through all of the political things that I've talked about to just basically create like haters in every sector. Chronically online people that behave in a cultish way that will change their political opinions on a whim as long as their divorcelli God decides to change his perspective. I know this because he had a dramatic perspective shift since 2018 when I first met him. over the course of the past 6 years, he has gone back on a litany of positions that he argued for with passion. Okay? Serious question. Do these trolls do this for free? Yes. Yes, they do. Absolutely. Why was that? Why mine changed? I don't know. I don't know what a person's personal motivations are. This is going to be every stream until the election. We're 13 days away from the election. It's all internet drama bullshit. I know. I just felt it. I felt the need to, clear certain things, like to clarify certain things, considering that I'm getting fucking, a barrage of slander. After watching so much shit, I want to just say thank you. I don't care about specific American policies, not from there, but the way you break down policies and reference actual journalists is so commendable. Appreciate you caring much about the world. I don't know if it matters, but I'm referencing you in my master's thesis. Sorry for brain rot, just ruining chat. I don't think I've ever seen anyone get hated as much as you do. Like, I stayed away from your content since 2020 because everyone was always ranting about how problematic you are and other bullshit to find out you're just advocating for human rights. Yes. When you are depressed, stuff like this gives you a sense of being in a community, but long term, this will just harm your existence. Yeah. That's what I also try to explain to people in general, that like this kind of championing for someone else, like an internet content creator that doesn't fucking know you and fighting their battles like this, is not going to make your life better. It's just simply going to increase the toxicity in your life. Most people do not have the time to watch an entire stream or to fully comprehend what my worldview is, and therefore they just often make up their own mind. They see like a bunch of people being like, this guy fucking sucks. And then they go, okay, maybe this guy fucking sucks. I don't even fault them for it. Okay? I don't even care necessarily. If they also did not dramatically change their worldview and start advocating for like white people being able to say the N-word or whatever the fuck, it wouldn't matter to me as much. Like, if someone is pro-Palestine unconditionally, right? If someone is pro-Palestine unconditionally, but they have issues with me in general, I think that anger is most likely misguided and misplaced, but it doesn't matter, right? Jake Tapper just said Bernie Sanders is doing an interview on Discord with Valkyrie and Pokemon. Yeah, it's true. Can you finish Sam's call in part? Where was it? I lost it. If anything, it's also an indication of how much this community touches grass. For sure. I mean, there's plenty who don't touch grass in this community as well. Let's be real. But last sentence on the bottom of my effort post, please. What was it? When you shit on the rainbow flag was the point on my journey where I realized I'm not immune to being reactionary. It's funny because it's a stupid reason to be upset with you talking about how shit tier its colors are. We disagree on a lot of topics, and that's okay. I will never say farting on planes is okay, but understand that planes are loud. So maybe everyone does it and you're the only one brave enough to say it out loud. Yeah, that's the other side. I mean, that person is joking, but like there can be a bunch of fucking things that you disagree with me on, right? The point is, bro, your take on Ukraine was so bad you lost a lot of people there for a moment. See, like people are still rehashing this shit. No, I was wrong to assume that Russia, specifically Vladimir Putin, would do such an unimaginably fucking insane thing, an unimaginably insane thing that is ultimately harming Russian lives as well as Ukrainian lives. I'm saying that, like, obviously Putin should at the very least care to a certain degree about his own self-governance. So, like, if you at this point still fucking think that, that I am, you said you didn't care about the Ukrainian constitution. Yeah, I care about human lives. I care about sparing human lives. I care about fucking making sure that Ukrainians don't die in the fucking meat grinder. What do you mean? Like, again, do you think I don't care about the sum total of like Ukrainian sovereignty? I do. I think it's unconscionable and completely unjustifiable that Russia invaded Ukraine. There's never been a moment where I've considered that to be acceptable or appropriate. And yet you still are pointing to something that is like, you're in the community of a person who has fundraised for Ukrainian victims of Russia's unjustifiable war. Someone who is, okay, you learned a lot, I said for a moment. No, dog. You misunderstood my point that I was making. I don't even remember exactly what this was in context to, but like, again, you're doing the thing. I also don't give a shit about the American Constitution either, for the record. So I don't know if you know that, but I routinely have said I wipe my ass with the American Constitution. I don't give a fuck. Fuck the Second Amendment, for example.
Damn, this guy's good.